and fund manager at Invasset PMS, is now with us on the show. Anirudh, morning. Thank you very much for joining in. What's the call on banks, particularly these large cap private sector banks? And while the valuations are reasonable, relative valuations are reasonable, are we being too optimistic about the kind of earnings growth recovery in banks which justify, increased valuations from here?
Thank you for having me. A very good afternoon to everybody at the CNBC-TV18 team. So, for how we look at this is a very, tricky sector to operate in. If you have lent for the past 10 years, books in the past 10 years, somewhere due to quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year expectations, some bad, that is something that has happened and highlighted by Reserve Bank of India from time to time. This is one problem that I believe is plaguing the public sector large banks in India. The second problem is the money which is flowing into alternative assets and the stock market, which is being taken away from the FDs. We've seen the CASA problem from time to time. And, I think that is absorbed now that the CASA depreciation is happening within the banks. I believe below there will be rise in, the interest costs, and the net interest margins come down even further from here as, the money is flowing from the banking industry, from the FD side to the stock market or the mutual fund and SIP side. So yes, for the banks, we are not bullish on the private sector banks. When it comes to financial, we believe that the main themes that are out there, the capex which the government is aiding, all those companies which are providing finance to these particular themes should do pretty well.
Anirudh, just allow us 20 seconds. We'll just fix that line, I think, because of this incessant rain in Mumbai. I think we're having a bit of a patchy issue over there. In the meantime, I'm just looking at some of the commentary that surrounds the Axis Bank numbers as well. So a lot of brokers are still retaining their buy. I mean, this stock has been a favorite with a lot of foreign institutions and foreign brokers in particular. JPM still has an overweight. They've in fact raised their target to about 13.25 from 12.25. There's a 100 rupee increase on the target. They're saying that while gross slippages rate was broadly similar to the first quarter of last year, net slippage rate was higher due to slower recoveries, which the management expects to pick up. Citi has actually downgraded the stock. So Citi is a bit of a bear on Axis, downgraded to a neutral with a target price of 13.20. And again, they're talking about the asset quality issue. And they're saying that, they need to factor in higher credit costs, and therefore they're revising the earnings lower. So the debate is wide open on Axis Bank. I think we've got Anirudh back. Anirudh, sorry, if you could just continue that point you were making on financials. I think that's the biggest issue in this earnings season. Large banks showing either a flattening trend on margins. Anyway, chasing deposits is an uphill task. And then you have some of them now looking at credit quality issues or asset quality issues.
Yeah. That this is something that because of the books the banks have made in the past 10 years, in the last one decade, we were seeing a clear distinction. The public sector banks were not making books. They were clearing their bad books, and especially on the order, then coming to corporate banks like ICICI and Axis were doing. Now we are seeing global growth is a problem, due to which the are not doing pretty well. We are seeing metal prices not picking up. So primarily the corporate lending that they do to industrials and such is not doing great. Your raw material is not there. You are not able to increase your CASA. Your credit costs are going up. And on the other hand, retail lending, which, was always a cherry on the cake, which, compensated for all the bad deeds that you have done in lending, is also seeing some bit of problem due to excess competition and excess liquidity. And I believe somewhere where RBI there is problem in the retail lending, banks are not our favorite going forward for the next couple of years.
Okay. Anirudh, unfortunately, we'll keep the conversation short today because of these technical issues with the line, but we got the gist of it. Look forward to talking about other sectors as well on our next call. Thank you so much for joining in.